when he took it over, and now they're consistently a top 25 team. Chris, there are so many things that Baylor does well.
That team had a lot of success. Maceo Teague, not a senior, but he's a redshirt junior. Davion Mitchell is, of course, coming from Auburn. So they have some guys who have been around the block. Offenses in the Big 12, very unselfish teams, and really good scorers.
These Baylor Bears, especially the guard play. There's Butler. Skips it over. Now Davion Mitchell.
Paint, break down a defense, and then shot makers, guys who can.
He got better last year being on the practice team, going up against Butler and Maceo Teague.
This year than he would have been if he had played right away coming from Presbyterian.
Yeah, and Chris, you know this, having covered this team for the last few years. This is not. The other numbers are sterling for Reaves. Now Reaves gives it up. Baylor. Here's Flagler, and he's off the mark. A rare miss for Baylor, and now playing for the Sooners. Meyer calls his own. Another block by the Baylor defense. They are up in the jerseys of the Sooners. Baylor clears from the weak side. 13-point lead, dominating in the first half of this first half for Butler, or for Baylor, and they turn it over there. Quick shot. Davion Mitchell has 4 points. Maceo Teague leads the scorers with 8. Yeah, I left mine in the closet tonight, but usually, if it wasn't a Wednesday night, I'd be breaking that up. Teague, scorching hot. He's got 11, courtesy of 3 3-pointers already. That one's stolen away. 7 Baylor turnovers. Reaves, well, they're third in the conference, 35+% from 3. So many ways that Baylor can hurt you, but that was one of the main things Lon Kruger told us. They have to eliminate straight line drives. Here's Teague. He's had the hot hand in the first half.
Really why it's a 9-point game. There's those shooting.
And the Baylor coaching staff just glad that Jared Butler's able to stay in the game, didn't hyperextend that knee. Reaves, Devils, that's at 10:30 Eastern. So we go from,
preseason watch list. To be a transcendent musician. Will we be talking about Bruno Mars in 30 years like we talk about, for example, Springsteen or somebody of that ilk?
I don't know if he's got the sticking power. I mean, no one does of Bruce Springsteen. We're talking about 50 years of great music.
And by themselves.
I don't want to dwell on missed opportunities, but man, me, you, and everyone else, 6 years gap.
I think you're right there, Coach. Yeah, I know.
From UNLV. Taking the role of where Freddie Gillespie left off last year. Here's Reaves. Good game to his repertoire. Meyer. That was a black hole. You knew that was going up, Spatola.
And that's where the dynamic has worked so far this year for Baylor.
Meyer, a junior out of Austin, Texas, and one and done again for the Sooners. Here's Teague in the open floor. All of a sudden, Baylor has extended its lead to 17. Try to get back in this game.
Well, they have to work for better shots. The shot quality was not good. And part of that is, Oklahoma.
Second half for Lon Kruger. Here's Mitchell calling his own number. Here's Mitchell. Him back for Oklahoma. The junior out of Kinshasa in the Congo.
He will always be able to say he dunked in a game.
He almost had a dunk earlier this season against Washington, actually against the Cyclones 76-75 or 65. Victor Ewalker, 0 in crimson. Gives it up to Reaves for 3. Teague, catch and release, no. And Reaves clears on the weak side. Scouting distance, a puncher's chance, Chris. Quick release. Reaves with the pull-up.
Is between Baylor last year and this year. Their bench is so much more productive. They are a much deeper team.
Manic with Baylor after you trailed by 17, but the Oklahoma offense looking a lot sharper in the second half. Meyer. Reaves has 6 rebounds to go along with 14 points. Go 3-0 in conference play in a conference that has had its fair share of road upsets. 12 now. We've got Oklahoma State Saturday, Chris.
And then also last year here at Baylor, a much improved shooter coming into this season.
That's an understatement. Shooting 50% from 3 coming into this game.
You would, Rich.
I'll tell you what. I watched that semifinal game and Justin Fields and company, and I'll
tell you what, they made Notre Dame. Alabama made Notre Dame look like a bunch of...
Ohio State's offense is almost as good as Alabama. How about that wild card game? You got Derrick Henry for the Titans, Heisman winner. You got Lamar Jackson. 3 minutes to go. Won't get any easier for the Oklahoma Sooners. They're going to stay on the road and go to Allen Fieldhouse to take on Kansas next.
Play Kansas.
Yeah. And that's a big part. The lack of fans certainly contributing.
Or limited fans.
About 2,300 fans inside the Farrell Center have watched their number 2 371 in his 22 seasons as Valpo's head coach. With us at ESPN now is the head coach at Grand Canyon, taking over the Antelopes program.
Are they indigenous to the to the Phoenix area?
And despite the fact that Jared Butler did not have a terrific offensive night, ending the night with just 6 points.
Zaga, your margin for error against that team, because they are so good offensively, is very small.